The why, I suppose, it was as I was mentioning. I was searching for the truth. I was searching for the meaning of life. I was searching for the answers to the question of, what is it all for? What is the purpose of our existence? Why am I here? What is this life all about? And having searched through various different religions and read many books, and having been brought up in a fairly, yes, definitely a strict Christian background, I came across the Quran, a translation of the Quran. And in reading this translation of the Quran, I found within it something so unique, something so special, that I decided by the time I had nearly accomplished reading it, that if I had ever read a book that was from God, this was the one. Mm-hmm. So that was the thing that really changed me around. Although I had an association with Muslims for a long time. I mean, my father worked in Egypt, and so I used to spend my holidays there, and I knew Muslims and so on and so forth. But it was not until I really read this translation of the Quran, and this is the thing that really convinced me that it must be from God, from the Creator. I've never actually heard myself of anyone becoming a Muslim because of such an experience. I mean, maybe there have been. But yes, I think this is something that you will find common amongst people who have chosen Islam. And I think it's worth mentioning, I had it in my mind to mention this as well, that everybody has to choose Islam. You chose Islam at some time as well, Shabir.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, a lot of people think the new Muslim, the white Muslim, the black Muslim, we chose this. Everyone at some stage in their life has to make a choice to be a Muslim. You, Shabir, although you were brought up in a Muslim family probably, and so on and so forth, you made a choice, a conscious decision at some stage in your life to choose Islam. There's lots of people brought up in Muslim families who don't make that conscious decision to choose Islam. They make a conscious decision to go in the opposite direction. So I don't really know why we are thought to be so special, but but Alhamdulillah. This choosing of Islam, as I was mentioning, came from reading the Quran, contemplating, thinking, and that is something that I find generally that is one of the things that has impressed me about Islam until today. And I used to say Islam is the religion of reason, and maybe that's not quite an accurate way or a proper thing to say, but I have never found a religion, and I don't think anyone, and I am sure 100% no one could ever find a religion that is reasonable like Islam is reasonable. And I say it in the sense that you will not find a single belief, a single thing that Islam is teaching you or Islam is telling you to believe, except that it is compatible with sound reasoning. And that is one of the beautiful things about Islam. And that's why I think you find that thinking people become Muslims, not people who rely on some sort of mystical, sort of emotional experience. Okay? Because really, how can truth be something that is manifest through some emotional, mystical, strange experience? I mean, if that's the case, then, David Koresh and the son of Sam and so many other extraordinary, crazy mass murderers and people who do all sorts of extraordinary things, if you look in their psychology and their accounts of their life, a lot of them have these type of extraordinary experiences. Like the son of Sam, a dog talked to him and he thought this dog was a messenger of God. I mean, so I mean, this is sort of extraordinary things. But Islam, no. Islam is a religion. It asks you to use your mind. You find the Quran again is saying, in this are signs for those who think, in this are signs for those who have understanding, and this is signs for those who are wise. When the angels greet the people, or rather not greet them, but when the angels who are guarding the gates of hellfire, they say to the people who are going to the hellfire, didn't someone come to you? Didn't someone warn you? And the people who are going to the hellfire they said yes. And if only we had used our aql, if we only used our intelligence, we wouldn't now be in the fire. It's an indication that Islam is something that you're going to come at and arrive at through using your intelligence, not merely some act of faith. I accepted Islam and I went to the mosque for a bit and so on and so forth. But the truth is, the moment I encountered the first bit of difficulty, that was it. I didn't ever say that I'm not a Muslim. I always used to tell people over a glass of wine and yes, I'm Muslim. Islam is fantastic. I mean, I remember once I was at a party and I was completely intoxicated, I think would be the polite way of putting it. And I was sitting there telling a group of people about how fantastic Islam was, and I was saying, well, if I wasn't so drunk, I could tell you a bit more. And this is really the case. So I didn't actually, I mean, the thing was, I believed it. And I never denied that this is what I held to be the truth. But in reality, I was not any different. In reality, I was still eating bacon butties are bacon sandwiches, right? And drinking alcohol and all the rest of it and everything like that. So it took 2 years of real mental, spiritual torment, I could say, because that's what it was. It was the worst 2 years of my life. And I always tell people that the person who is the worst off is the person who knows the truth and doesn't act upon the truth. The worst one is the one who knows the truth and doesn't follow it. There's a time when they call it blissfully ignorant. But when you know the truth and you don't follow that truth, if there's hell on earth, that's what it is. If there's hell on earth, that's what it is. And that's what I went through. But alhamdulillah, I mean, I look back on it and it was ultimately through Allah's mercy, only through Allah's mercy, a strengthening experience. And when I did come to Islam, alhamdulillah, I think because of that experience, I came to Islam much stronger and much more with complete determination not to repeat that sort of error again. Mm-hmm. But it is a problem, and I'm sure that lots of brothers and sisters out there in different ways who become Muslim and who choose Islam encounter that same type of problem, to change their life around, and it is a very, 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 very major change. It's not like, you just change a few things, right? Now I believe in Jesus and that, everything goes on, right? No, I mean, your life changes round almost completely, and that is difficult. Mm-hmm. But it's easy for whomsoever Allah makes it easy. Mm-hmm. And I always think that the best answer to that is how Allah describes it in the Quran, and it is exactly the way Allah describes it. It is really the truth. And I would say that Islam, to be a Muslim, to be in Islam and out of Islam, the difference between being a Muslim and being an unbeliever is the difference between life and death. Mm-hmm. That's how extreme it is, and it really is that different. It's like before I was dead and now I'm alive. It is that different. It's like before, and this is how I think of it, before I was in a room, a vast, huge room, which is totally pitch dark. And this room is surrounded by obstacles. So you're trying to find your way around this room. And as you're trying to find your way, you keep hitting these things and injuring yourself. And this is how you are, stumbling around in the darkness, crawling around, stumbling around, injuring yourself, battering yourself. Islam is like you open the door and you step out into the daylight. Mm-hmm. That's how it is. That's how the difference between being a Muslim and not being a Muslim. It's that different. I think the first thing is that you have to be very sincere and you have to be very honest about yourself. That's very difficult to do that. And that's very important, to be sincere. If you're sincere and you're really sincere, I'm sure that Allah will guide you to the truth. But it's not like you have to find the door. Really, because it's there. If anyone's watching this video, well, we're telling you about Islam. There's the light for you. Mm-hmm. Okay? If you deserve it, Allah will guide you to that light. That's the reality. If you are deserving of it, Allah will guide you to that light. Because we have to understand that Allah chooses who He wants for His guidance. And He chooses people who are deserving of it. This is the reality. Okay? So, really, one needs to seek that guidance, one needs to pray for that guidance, and you need to seek it with your mind, with your heart, with your soul. This is the way to go forward. But if we're talking about how does someone who's now found the truth, they've discovered Islam, maybe someone, and it happens, some people for years have been reading the Quran and reading books about Islam. And I think maybe after the second month they'd already knew that Islam was the truth, but somehow they kept telling themselves, I have to read more, I have to read more. A lot of people are afraid to make that that step, that final step. So I mean, there's nothing to do it except you have to do it. You have to take that step. Once you know that Islam is the truth, you need to embrace Islam. You need to enter into the fold of Islam. And for those who have done that, how do you proceed? Simple thing. Simple thing. Very simple. If you hold on to it, God willing, you will never go astray and you will be guided on the right path. And that is to guard the prayers. Those 5 prayers, those prayers 5 times a day, if you guard them, and it doesn't matter if you do anything, if you can't do anything except that, if you guard those prayers and you make sure you say those prayers, you will find that this will be one of the surest ways to change your life around.